Hello everybody, I'm just going to give you a quick tutorial of how to do the first assignment for 3D modeling. So hopefully you have done your rules. If you haven't, get in there and do that, okay? Here's my contact information if you ever need to get a hold of me. Here's where the live class recordings are. Here's week 1. This is where you want to start. You always start at the beginning of a class, right? So there's this recording you can watch. I'm making this in place of that. There's a week 1 assignment. Oh, here's the recording and using shortcuts and commands below. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's just the same recording. All right. So, after you do your unit 1 quiz, you're going to do assignment 1. Okay. So here it is, week 1 assignment. You're going to click on that and it is going to bring you to a Google slideshow. And it's titled Week 1 Assignment. It has directions on the first slide. 3D Modeling Week 1 Assignment. 1. Choose the next empty slide and add your name. 2. Give it a word from the game generator or other source. Use mesh objects, which is a fancy way of saying shapes, to create a 3D model of this word in Blender. Repeat this activity 4 times and create 4 simple models. Post a screenshot of your 4 3D models on your slide. So your goal, you can see other students have already done it, is to create 4 models. So here we have it, 4 models using basic mesh objects. These are more complex. This student went wild, but you should just be creating basic objects using shapes just like you did when you were in kindergarten. Okay, so that's your goal right now. When I talk about using a game generator, if you go game generator like this, or did I say word generator? Word generator. Okay, word generator, random word generator. Here we go. That's not what I want. I want a Pictionary word generator. Oh my goodness. Okay, there's going to be a word generator in here somewhere. Let's see, where is it? What? You gotta be kidding me. Okay, well, let's go up to the directions. Game word generator. It would help if I just copy paste that over. Game word generator, there it is. Ta-da! We go to the game word generator, you go new word, C. Well, you might not want to make a C. Oh, do you want to make a hippopotamus? That's crazy. Nose, oh, that's hard. Mitten, I might be able to make a mitten. A bench, oh, I could make a bench. Okay, so let's go ahead and go into Blender. Hopefully you've installed it. If you haven't, go to blender.org and download it. There are directions how to install that in the folder. So go to those directions. There's a video tutorial that shows you how to install it. But it's just free at blender.org. Okay, so you get this little splash screen. Whatever it kind of prompts you, just go with that. Click outside. This is what it looks like. So I'm scrolling, and this is the reason why you are going to want to use this. So down below, Blender shortcuts and commands. You have to download this, okay? It's not going to help you to just look at it because it doesn't look the way it's supposed to in here. You have to go here and click download and find your 3D modeling folder and put that Blender shortcuts and commands in there. Okay, and then open it up. Okay, so you're going to want to have this open when you're working in Blender always, because you're going to not be able to remember everything on your own. These are keyboard shortcuts. So I'll show you how to use these in a second, but 1 is front view, 3 is side view, 7 is top view. If you do Control 1, Control plus 1, it gives you the back view. Control 3 will give you the other side view. Control 7 will give you the bottom view. Control 2 and 8 are going to be panning up and down, and Control 4 and 6 are going to be panning left and right. And you're not going to know what any of that means until you start playing around in there. Plus key will let you zoom in, and minus key will let you zoom out. You can toggle with a / whoops, sorry. You've got Control+0 to set your camera as set active object as the camera. That's cool. You have Control, Alt, and 0. You're not even going to start using the camera yet. Don't worry. Okay, so this is what I mean by front view. The front of Suzanne the monkey's head, the top, the bottom, the side, and the other side. Okay? So you just have to go through this and try this out. I can't put this in your brain for you. Only you can go in there and start playing around and see what it does. Okay? So press and hold your scroll button and move your mouse, and that's gonna let you pan around. Shift Alt scroll, Shift Control scroll. They haven't been working on this new version of Blender for me, so I don't know if that just went away. But those are basically essentially your panning up and down. So your Control 2, 8, 4, and 6. So anyway, you can try those out. Control Z, just like in every other program, is undo. S is for scale or to make larger or smaller. R is for rotating. If you hit the R twice, you get a second rotation, more rotation options than if you just hit the R once. G is for grab and move. Escape is to cancel something that you want to get out of. Okay. And now they've changed it so that left click is a regular left click. It used to be you had to right click to select things and it was really awkward. So some of these might have changed. If it says left click to release, yeah, it probably still is left click. Right click to select, that's wrong. That should be left click now. Okay, so change that to left click. X is for delete, and then it'll ask you if you want to delete the vertex, the edge, or the face. Depends on what you're trying to do. Shift A will give you the add menu. Shift D will let you duplicate something. Number pad period, if you lose your object, it will center it. So if you like end up in space and you can't find what's going on, just hit your period. Okay, we're not going to get into the camera today. Let's see, what else do we have here? Okay. Not going to get into that. We won't get into this until a little bit later. So don't worry. I mean, you can move ahead if you want to. Because we're using a new version of Blender, these keys, everything on here looks totally different now. All right, so keep that open. And I'm going to kind of just show you around here. So the first thing that you should do is just hit delete, or you can hit X to delete that, okay? I want to add, and this is the add menu. I want to add a mesh, okay? I'm not adding any of these other things, okay? Only meshes right now, all right? I'm going to add a monkey, okay? And that puts Suzanne in there, and I'm scrolling to go in and out, but you also have this zoom feature where if you just press and hold that little magnifying glass and move your mouse back and forth, it'll zoom in and out. I just click and hold it and move my mouse. And this one right here will let you pan. Click and hold, and you can pan left and right and up and down all around. That's the same thing as, well, not quite, but if you hold your middle mouse button down and move it around, it almost does the same effect. If you scroll, it goes in and out. Okay, so if you hit the number 1, it will give you the front view, and this becomes orthopedic. We're straight on. We've got the X and Z, and you can tell X is red and Z is blue axes here. And if I hit 3, now I have the Y and Z axes. I'm at the side view. The back view would be Control 1, and that'll give me the back of her head. And then Control 3 will give me the other side. If I hit 7, that's the top view. Control 7 is the bottom view. Those are all shortcuts listed on that PowerPoint. You're just going to have to practice and play around with them. 1 for front view is what I want to do. So I said I was going to build a bench. All right. So remember, if I just click and hold that, I can pan and bring my monkey straight up. You want to be in object mode, okay? So this is your main creating window over here. You want to be in the object mode. And if it's selected, it's surrounded by yellow. So I'm going to click off of it, okay? And I'm going to add a new mesh. I'm going to add a cube, okay? And there are some tools over here. This is the move tool. So if I click move, I can move that right down, okay? And I'm going to click and hold my middle mouse button and just move my mouse, and I'm going to rotate around to take a look at that. And I think I'm going to hit 1 for front view. I think I'm going to also scale that. So this is the scale tool. So I'm going to click and I'm just going to make that nice and flat because I'm making a bench. And then I'll make that a little wider because I'm going to have Suzanne sitting on a bench. Okay. So the next thing, what do I need for my bench? I need some, I'm going to go 3 side view. Sorry about that. And I'm just going to tilt it just a little bit. I'm going to make some legs for underneath my bench. So I'll go add, mesh. I need another cube, right? So I'm going to move, click the move tool. I'm going to drag that down and I'm going to rescale it. So I'm going to click on this scale tool and I'm going to make it thin that way. But then I'm going to also hit 1 and I'm going to have to make it thin that way too so that it really does look like the leg of my bench. Okay, I'm going to hit 1 for the front and I want that to be down at the end. So I'm going to click on my move tool and I'm going to slide that down. Okay, and then I'm going to duplicate it. So I'm going to hit Shift D, and when I do, it's stuck to my mouse. Okay, I want to isolate that so that it moves straight along in the X direction. So I'm going to hit X and it's going to isolate the movement along the X axis. And now left click and drop it. Okay, so I'm going to hit Shift D again and I should hit the number 3. Whoops, Control Z. I'm going to hit Control Z. Okay, I'm going to hit 3 and come to the side because I can see, oh, well, that's an interesting, okay. I was going to have it so that I had a, you know, like one of these. I'm going to hold down the Y. I'm just going to click Y. Just click Y, and that's going to isolate my movement that way. Okay, and over here, I'll just, oh, it's already isolating it. Okay, so bring that over. Now I can hit Shift D and hit Y, and it'll isolate my movement along the Y direction that way. And I can do the same thing over here. Shift D for duplicate, hit Y, and it'll isolate the movement along the Y axis. So this is a lot. This is the reason why you've got to work 4 hours a week in this program, because this is not easy to learn. All right, so perfect. So now I've got a bench for Suzanne, and I can add a mesh like how about a cone? All right, so I've got my move tool selected, or I can hit G, and if I want to move it along the Z axis, I hit Z next, and then I can just move it down. It's kind of attached to my cursor. Okay, so that worked out pretty cool. And I can scale it with this, and I can, let's see, how do I want to scale this? Do I want, oh, this is cute. I could just go like this and turn it into this cute little like dress or something like that. And I need some, what else do I need? I need arms. So this is where you add a mesh, and you could add a cylinder, but I need to rotate this. I'm going to hit 1, so I'm in front view, and down here is your transform. You could, oh, here's rotate. So I can rotate. I'm just going to grab this and rotate it. Oh, I didn't do that right. I'll hit Control Z. Let's, is it working? I'm going to hit 1, rotate. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I want the whole thing to rotate. Okay, perfect. So I just rotated it like that. And I can see if my rotation was perfect by these arrows right here. I can click and drag this out, this transform box. It says that my rotation was 89.5. I want that to be 90 degrees, right? Perfect 90 degrees. So I'm going to hit 90. Okay, perfect. And this Z should be 0. Okay, and this X should be 0. Okay, so perfect. Now that I've got that rotated, I can grab my move tool and move that down like that. It's going to be my arms in a second. I'm going to scale it. I'm going to make this skinnier, and I probably need to make these skinnier too. Okay, but I can make my arms come out nice and long. Yay! Yeah, look at that. Okay, so if you can hold down shift and select multiple parts, and so I'm going to shift and then I'm going to click my move, and I'm going to move the whole thing so she's sitting right on the bench. There we go. Cute. Okay, so that's all I'm asking you to do is just get in there and figure out how things work. Okay, not a big deal. So then when you get done with that, you're going to take your screenshot. You have I use the snipping tool. If you have a snipping tool, you just type in snip in your search bar and it comes up. And I go new, and I grab my snipping tool and I right click and copy. And then I go to that website and I find my slide, and I've got one in here somewhere. There's mine. And I add this. I'm just gonna right click and paste. It doesn't like it when I do that. You have to hit Control V. So paste that in there. Okay, so there we go. There's my bench, and then I can go to my game word generator and I can go new word. Basketball, that's too easy. Dragon, that's challenging. Bug, that would be a really fun one. Okay, so that's the object of this assignment, is to learn to use these tools. Okay, and there are tutorials. So just to give you a quick overview, these are different windows. This first window right here, if you have your cursor here, is called the 3D viewport. And if I click there, I can actually change the 3D viewport into a lot of different things. I can change it into a timeline. I can change it into a text editor. I can change it into an outliner, okay? I'm going to change it back to my 3D viewport. So if you're ever like, what happened? Just check and see if you have the correct viewer. This down here, if you'll notice, there's 4 different windows. If I click this and I drag it up, this is the timeline. This is where you do animation. This is modeling class, so we're mostly focusing on learning how to build models at this point. You'll animate later. There is an edit, so if you are wanting to explore editing features, you'd have to go into edit mode, but select something first. This is the select box. So I'm going to select really quick Suzanne's head. I'm going to zoom in, and I can go into edit mode once her head's selected. And you'll notice that it gives me all of the vertices. These dots are vertices. There are edges that connect the vertices, and there are faces that are created by the edges, okay? So you can select, this right here is vertex select, this is edge select, and this is face select. So if you just want to select one vertex, you have that selected, and then you can click on it. Now you can move that using this if you want to, or you can just hit G and just grab it and move it around, and you might have to hit G and move your model a little bit. So this is real fun. Okay, so those didn't go out in the directions that I thought they were going to, but you just have to play around with it. You can use the arrows if you want it to be more perfect. You can hit G, or you can just grab the arrows. You can move that back in if you want to, or you can pop it out. So that's how you can do vertex select. You can click over here on edge select, And then you'll notice that'll help you to select an entire edge. And if I hit G, that whole edge is going to move. But it's creating some funny geometry, so you want to be careful because then it doesn't look right when you animate it. So be careful about selecting edges. If you do an edge select, make sure it's something like this so that when you go to move it, it's not creating weird geometry. Like, that's totally fine. It's got a cone head. That's all great. Okay, you can do face select. Click on that face. And then if I just select, let's see, that face right there, and I can hold down shift to select two faces, I can move those faces out, but they're ended up being kind of a weird geometry. We don't want that. You can hit G and just grab and move your cursor and move it around, and that's fun. Okay. Oh, but it ends up being crooked, so I don't like that. All right. Anyway, those are edit modes. So you got to get out of that, okay, by going back into object mode. All right. Now you can see how different Suzanne looks now that I've had a chance to play around with the edit mode tools. Okay, and you'll notice when you went into edit mode that you had a lot more tools down here. You can scroll down. You can grab this and move it out, and if you do that, it tells you what they're called. However, you don't have to do that. You can just hover your cursor over them and it'll tell you what the tools are. You can slide that back down so that you have more space in your 3D viewer. These are your transform tools over here, which are really nice because, like I was saying, if you wanted to rotate something, I'm going to click on my select tool and select, at least I think I'm going to. Oh, I'm in edit mode, sorry. Go back into object mode. I'm going to select the arm, and if I want to rotate it, I can rotate it around the x-axis. Let's see if I go 30 degrees. Okay, that's not what I wanted. I'm going back to 0 there. Maybe I wanted to rotate around the y-axis 30 degrees. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Okay, maybe I'm going to go 120. There, now his arms are, hi guys. All right, cute. I like it. So that's, you can use things like that. And then you can also, like, oh, let's say that I want to move Suzanne. I'm going to hold down shift and grab these. Let's say I want to move her over. Well, if I want to move her over to the right, that's positive X. So I'll hit a 1. Oh, it didn't move all of her over. Control Z. So what I can do is I can go object, join. Now she's all one. And if I go X in the 1 unit over, you can see I moved her over on the bench. I'll go one more. I'll hit 2. She's sitting on the edge of the bench. Okay, if I wanted her to go to the other end of the bench, I'd have to say -2. Okay, and the reason why, if I hit 1, is because this is the X and Z axes, okay, and anything this direction is going to be in the negative direction, and anything in this direction is going to be in the positive direction. So you can also scale things. So let's say I'm going to move her over to the center again. I'll just hit 0 there, and I'm going to scale her. I'm going to make the X twice as big. Whoa. The Y twice as big. And the Z twice as big. And now you can see she's huge. I'm gonna grab this move tool and move her up. Okay, let's see. Maybe if I did 0.5, nope. 1, nope. -1, nope. -0.5. Okay, -0.5. Oh, she's still hovering. Oh well, good enough. But just to give you an introduction to a lot of the tools that are available, you do also have some things over here, like you've got a wireframe mode where you can see all that geometry. This is called solid mode. You have a material mode where you'd be able to see what it would look like if you had some color added, which is a little more complicated. We'll talk about that later. And this is rendered mode. So you can see where your light is. This right here is your light, and it is there. Now it's shining, sort of, on Suzanne's face, but yeah. Okay, so yeah, rendered mode will show you what your lighting looks like. This is your camera. So if I hit 0, it shows me what the camera's looking at. And you can move your camera around and stuff, but we're not going to talk about that today. That's just complicated. Hit 0 again to get out of camera mode. So that's kind of where stuff is at. So just get in there and get your 4 models made and put onto the slideshow, please. Okay, and you can go ahead and use, I don't know why these, if you already had your name on here, great. I guess I'm waiting for your work still. But other than that, grab the closest slide that you can get that doesn't already have someone's name on it. Oh, looks like somebody turned something in. Awesome. Please don't ever put your full name. Always your first initial and last name. Okay? That way, when I'm making a recording like this, my goodness, you can tell people don't pay attention to my recordings when they put their full name. It's like, oh, you didn't watch you didn't come to class, or you don't watch my videos, do you? Okay, so anyway, yeah, grab the next available slide. First initial, last name, please. Okay, that's it. You can do that. Don't forget, you've got this, okay, with all your shortcuts, okay? You're going to be just fine.